Hey, it's Prep Sports now. Once again, I'm Case Kiefer, joined by Ray Brewer, getting deep into the local high school football season at this point, into week 7. We'll look back on week 6 first, as always, before getting into the picks. And unfortunately, it seems like it's once a year that we do this, but the big story out of last week, a great game between Arborview and Desert Pines. Arborview holds off for a 1-point win. That in reality becomes a double loss because of a brawl after the game. Both teams suspended this week, at least, I think. But I don't know. What are your takeaways from an ugly ending in what was otherwise a good game between Arborview and Desert Pines?
Yeah, I hate that it had to come down to this because it was like the fourth time in the last fifth meetings against these two great programs, right? Two elite teams in Nevada that came down to one single point. Think about that. For the last 5 times Desert Pines and Arborview have played, it's come down to 1 point. Great players on each side of the ball, and motions got heated, and it led to a fight. And the end result is nothing anybody wants to see. We still think back to 2020 when we couldn't play football because of COVID, and now there's no game this week, and there was going to be great games, right? Arborview's can't play Gorman. Desert Pines can't play Liberty, but it's the four marquee games.
Yeah, for sure.
It's the whole reason
I know,
we have this classification.
Just the great games part. I don't think it was going to be that close, but it is the marquee games, like or something.
And I hate that because A, we were all looking forward to this week, but B, the kids don't get to play. And what I hate even more is now that it's happened, adults are pointing their fingers at who's to blame. Well, the solution isn't there's not one person to blame. It's multiple people are to blame. Everybody's at fault. A fight happened, and there has to be the consequence. And even if side A may be less guilty than side B, or side A didn't do this, or whatever the case may be, you can't blame anybody. The blame has to be Arborview and Desert Pines, the two teams involved in what happened. And, it's a tough situation. I know that the officials who handed down the punishment, talking to them off the record, they didn't want to have to do it. It happens. I mean, you play football, things get heated.
I was never a part of any brawls, though. I feel like the brawls have really been keeping up, really heated up in the last 5. Or am I crazy? I know I talked to a coach about this years ago, and I was like, I just don't understand why this happens all the time. Like, it's just, I think it was boys will be boys, and I think multiple people have told me some version of that, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe it was different. I don't feel like I got.
So let me ask you this. The one thing that I have and I didn't play football, but you have to have a certain edge about you when you play the game, right? Like this borderline cockiness or confidence where you're seemingly always talking trash, right? And you see, like, a lot of times, like if you watch highlights of like the DBs going after the wide receivers, or the offensive linemen going after the defensive linemen in some of these camps, right? It's this borderline like macho talking trash. And I don't remember that as like a kid, or like you get dunked on in basketball and everybody's tapping the back of their head. Like, I don't remember that. And the problem is yeah, that's great. It's great to have that edge, that competitive edge, but oftentimes it leads to like fighting. Like, I'm all into sportsmanship, right? I make a hard tackle against you, I'm going to help you up. At the end of the game, I'm going to hug you and wish you luck. Like, one of the coolest things for me, I remember in 99 or 98, the fall of 98, I was covering Silverado, had this great football team, and they were playing Durango. Great playoff game. And I remember this vividly. At the end of the game, Durango won late. I think it was the year they won the zone. And after the game in the handshake line, like the amount of respect from like Eric Nelson, who was like one of Silverado's best players, and Jamal Brimmer, who was one of the best players I've ever covered. Like, literally, Eric, who went on to play at UNLV, Blue Jays organization, he's like a Henderson cop now. He was like, hey, man, go get him in the next round. Way to go. And I miss that. And I don't know if that still exists, because there's just so much like it's such built up. Like back when we were kids, we couldn't talk trash all week on Twitter, right? So you're going into the game, heated rival, and the pot's already stirred.
Yeah.
And then the result doesn't come your way and you automatically snap. And that's society right now, dude. Right? You're seeing this like little league games and it's all over. And it's us, it's adults, man. COVID has given us like the green light to be a complete prick.
I feel like these are happening way before COVID, though. But I agree with a lot of what you were saying.
Okay, well, that's good. I appreciate it.
But yeah, I don't think blaming it on COVID. Like, I feel like these fights have been happening here for. I feel like there's been at least once a year for like 10 plus years, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think you kind of tripped on what I guess my thoughts of it were. I was part of some practice dust ups for sure, and I've covered some. And you see that in training camp all the time. But I think that's a similar thing to end the game, and I too totally agree. You have to play with that edge or that swag, I guess, as the younger kids may say. You have to have that confidence, and it is going to boil over to trash talking or whatever, and there are going to be some tempers that flare in the game. But I feel like even if you watch professionals, since that's some of the examples you used, it's like when the whistle ends and the game's over, that's when you put that all aside and you say, that's what you hear. It's a cliche, but you hear guys say all the time. If you ask them about like getting into it with someone in practice or in the game, it's like, oh, we're just playing football. That's what happens. You can't let it carry over. Once the whistle ends, it's unacceptable. Obviously, it's an unacceptable fight, but I feel like it's kind of unacceptable to be chirping at someone on the field. That's when that mutual respect. You have to put aside the edge and have that mutual respect and accept the conclusion of the game, in my opinion.
I mean, but you see, like, just the buildup. Like, look at college, which, like, all these kids from youth football aspire to get to college, right? And you see, like, oh, this guy stepped on my logo. You see, like, and all this other stuff. Like, who even knows? Is that illegal to, like, when you're doing warm-ups to step on somebody's logo? Is that, like, off limits?
I feel like that's a new one. I feel like the trampling on it, like if it's a sign of disrespect, I understand, but
yeah,
I don't know.
And I just think that again, it's a different era. I like remember when I was a kid, and of course I played soccer. And if one kid on our team got like a red or a yellow card, which is football's version of like unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, like Coach Minigill would make us run like 10 50-yard dashes, 10 40-yard dashes, 10 30-yard dashes. And like you were afraid to get in trouble. And even in the heat of battle, like one day we were playing Green Valley. I remember this, and we hated Green Valley because they opened and they took some of our kids from SHAP. And I was playing defense, and I accidentally tripped a guy. And it wasn't on purpose. It was just, they're going on a breakaway. I'm trying to hunt the guy down. Right? And as I'm getting close to him, I tripped him, but it made it look like I was going after his legs to stop him from scoring. Clear break to the goal. Got a yellow card. Dude, I couldn't sleep that day because I knew all my teammates were going to have to run because I don't know if that relates to the story, but I wanted to share it.
Yeah, I understand. I don't know if that's still the case or not. I guess we'd have to ask coaches, but I certainly thought of examples like that too. But I don't think anyone wants to hear about us talk about the fight anymore. Very unfortunate. Would have been one of the games of the year. Now, I guess officially goes down as a 0-0 loss on both sides.
I gave myself credit in the picks for the dub. Just a little.
Okay, that's fair. I would rule that that's acceptable. And as you said, it cancels out 2 games on the highest level this week. I guess what else is remaining? Anything that's really you're circling, looking ahead to this weekend?
So a few teams to give props to from last week. Your Coronado Cougars, CK.
Hey, I'm always picking Coronado.
Big win over Shadow Ridge. I'm sitting there. I'm like, where's that turkey Travis Foster? He ain't called me yet. I'm waiting for him to call me with the score. And I'm like, oh, I'm on Texas guy and see if he forgot and see what's going on. And I was like, oh, shoot, they lost. So
did I pick them? I don't think I did. I think I picked it closer than you. I think I probably called you out for saying it was going to be too lopsided.
To go from beating Desert Pines to losing to Coronado.
Yeah.
Right.
But Coronado's tough though. I feel like this is there's some schools just every year they can be good and you won't give them credit. I feel like Coronado falls in that category.
Yeah, and to Coronado's credit, they have a ton of participation over there. So when you have that many kids in the program, eventually it's gonna work. So shout out to them. Of course, shout out to the Chaparral Cowboys. They beat El Dorado. But I also want to give shout out to El Dorado. El Dorado traveled, dude, really good to Chap. Their students were engaged. Very proud of both teams for a good night. I'll give you a quick story, though. At halftime, the Chap kids are running off the field, right, to go to the locker room. And they run by all the alumni that was there because they had the alumni 50th anniversary on the field for the homecoming parade, right? And the alumni started clapping for the kids when they were running off the field.
Were you there?
I was there, not lined up to run. I was talking to X at the time. But CK, I got chills, bro. Right? Because I spent so much time telling everybody how much I love Chaparral and I'm so proud to be from Chaparral. And, obviously my wife and I, we go down to that part of town a lot with our church. And I see a lot of those kids and I was like, wow, here's people that I grew up with that love those kids as much as I do. And I literally had chills. So I thought that was pretty cool. Liberty back on track, big win against Cathedral Catholic out of San Diego. Gorman won big over Silverado in a battle of previous state champions. Also saw a social media post. I guess some Silverado parents are chirping because the Skyhawks are being coached badly. After 2 years of not winning, of losing the game and winning state championships, same coaches are now accused of not being good coaches, which I find absolutely comical because, as you know, Andy O is like pretty darn good coach, and he's got like a bunch of like former head coaches on his staff. So I found that to be interesting. And Moapa Valley hammered Boulder City. Maybe the Pirates aren't dead yet.
They're just all over the place, it sounds like.
Slam struggled a little bit with Democracy Prep. That's kind of all I got.
I would say you kind of I was going to say this about just the Coronado game, but Chaparral now too. I'm diving into these. Neither of them were even competitive. I feel like you buried the lead on the Coronado game. Not only did they beat them, looks like they crushed them. They were up 20-0 in the first quarter, cruised to a 28-14 win from there.
Got off to
non-competitive.
Yeah,
and the same as Chap. I'm surprised you didn't pat yourself on the back more. Was 30-0 after 3 quarters. So neither of those games were even close. Well, I think I thought both of them would be close.
Yeah, I mean, so Shadow Ridge, they're not built to come back. They're built to control the game, control the clock, get a lead, play defense, and hang on. They're not built to be down 20, before the popcorn maker gets done with his job.
Right? Yeah, I just was surprised to see that both games not competitive. So shout out to Coronado and Chaparral.
Yeah,
big week for them.
Those Foothill Falcons won again.
41-7.
Yeah, big time.
So Liberty was 41-7 too.
Yeah, slinging it around, man. That QB for the Hill, one Hill.
Yeah,
look, dude. I'm telling you right now, Battle for Boulder Highway, Henderson Bowl, Green Valley Foothill, that old Henderson League, baby. I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the Battle for Boulder Highway because Cahill's got him rolling over basic.
I'm not picking. I don't know.
I'm not picking against Foothill.
I don't share your enthusiasm on Mason Dew's throwing for 400 yards a week.
No. But wouldn't it be so like basic Foothill? They finally play again after a few years of not playing, and they've got like a team that not only is going to win state, but they think is good enough to beat some of the 5A teams. And then Basic comes in there and grits them out. Wouldn't that just be like perfect?
I don't see it. I don't have to be perfect for Basic. I'm sure they'd love it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that alumni would be lined up clapping them on. That happens. Is it at Basic?
I don't know where the game's at.
Okay. Well,
hopefully it's as good as I think it's going to be.
All right. Yeah, we'll have to see. Do you want to jump to this week's picks?
Yeah,
all right.
Many of them, because you would have picked Liberty over Desert Pines, right?
Yes, okay. For sure.
What would you? I can't even remember. Well, what was our $5 pick last week?
I think I laid or you made it. I think you won. I think I said Arborview 7.5,
As
and you
long as
wanted
I
like
won,
8
I
or
don't
8.5.
Okay.
I thought Arborview was going to win by a touchdown,
Okay.
but hey, technically,
yeah.
no action
I
after
gotta
the
check the
brawl.
house rules on that side. Okay.
I'm just kidding. You
Right.
definitely won. Right. So first game you have up here, you can look at Ray's picks at LasVegasSun.com. I'm going straight off of them, but this is an easy one. Rancho at Centennial.
Yeah, TV game of the week. Centennial should not be in this league, but they are. Centennial rules.
Absolutely. I don't see Foothill. Is Foothill Basic maybe the final game of the season?
No,
I don't see it on the schedule,
well,
but maybe the final game.
Yeah, they have to be playing because they're in the same league. Right?
Okay, well, then it's the final week of the season. That's the one I don't see on here. All right, something I was looking at going back. Yeah, Centennial. I agree. This could be good. This is a state championship rematch, I believe. Shadow Ridge at Silverado.
Yeah, and I've got, I go back to Shadow Ridge. I just think I don't know what happened against Coronado, but I got the Mustangs.
Yeah, I think Shadow Ridge bounces back. They'll be pretty focused in practice this week. I'd like to see the turnover numbers. Maybe that they had some turnovers that dug them into that big hole. I don't think Silverado is as explosive, maybe offensively. So I think Shadow Ridge controls this one and bounces back. So we're 2 for 2, same there. How about Clark at Cimarron Memorial? Cimarron beats Mojave last week. I know that was one of the games you said was a coin flip, but Cimarron gets it done. Does it continue against Clark?
Yeah, Clark finally scored last week against Legacy and had a pretty good little performance. But I think Cimarron's slightly ahead of them.
Yeah, I'm going to keep riding with Cimarron as well. Finally, you were given some respect to my Miners. I think from the beginning of the year, I said, watch out for this team in this class. They're good. They feel good about what they have. Now they have gotten the Ray Brewer sign of approval when you say they'll be a team to reckon with in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Chris Sawyer's the one thing I noticed at the Shaft game, I don't want to say the Shaft. That I pop in for a quarter here and there at all kinds of games, and I watch the TV game on Thursday night, or at least I tape it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that a lot of these schools that are in the lower levels is missing is consistency in the coaching box. You'll get a guy, and I'm not going to name any names, who's out there literally by himself. Or a guy with like 2 other assistants who are gravely unqualified and not on campus. And that really matters for whatever it's worth. Go ahead, next pick.
Okay. Yeah. Glad you came around to that team. But this is maybe the game of the week.
Sawyer's knows how to coach. That's one.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
This game's pretty interesting. Basic in Las Vegas High.
Love that. I kind of wrote about that in the picks to lead off. The Pack, dude, I'm telling you right now, I'm high on the Pack. I'm high on Vega. The Pack is back, baby. And I'm taking them over my kitty cats. And it hurts me to say that, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, I have a chance for it to be like the first time in history that I pick Las Vegas and you don't. God, it's tough though, looking at Basic's body of work. I mean, I see where you're coming from. I mean, they have been very impressive. They arguably should have beaten Faith Lutheran. They smashed Durango last week. Nearly beat Silverado. I like what they've done, but I feel like this game could go either way, honestly. So I don't know. I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to go with Las Vegas High. They win a close game. Basic's been playing mistake-free football. Maybe there's going to be some fumbles, some turnovers. Could happen. Vegas could beat them, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going. All right, I'm going Vegas.
Name on the front of the jersey.
You're Mr. Basic this year, so I guess I'll take your role at Las Vegas High. Especially because it's a new week of Survivor starting on TV, and we had a Las Vegas High graduate football player on Survivor. What, last season?
Oh, yeah.
2 seasons ago. Sammy sent you the picture. You talked to Tapatio about it. Yeah, made a deep run. So
I was going to mention the very first Survivor episode. There was a Shaft grad that went far.
Oh, really? She went to Shab?
Kelly Wood.
Yeah, I didn't know that. All right. Well, we've had much Vegas representation over the years. I don't think there are any this year.
Survivor guy.
Oh yeah, that's my thing.
Could you do that show?
I'd love to, but
could you never?
We'd find out.
Okay.
I lack the survival skills. But I know since it seems like you haven't watched the show recently, it's not really, I mean, you still have to have those skills, but it's way more of a strategic uh numbers
Getting people
game.
on your side.
Yeah, it's much more strategy based. I feel like I'd be good at that, but the survival part, yeah, not for me. I'm
Have you
better
ever
in
watched
being
Naked and Afraid?
yeah, a little bit, but it doesn't get me the same way because it's not a strategic game.
Okay.
That's why I love football. There's you got to know there's a lot of quirks. There's a lot of things you got to do well. But anyways, yeah. So go Las Vegas High, Coronado at Palo Verde.
You got to go with the Cougs, right? The two class level matchup difference.
Well, yeah, Palo two below them, but I don't. You were so high on Palo coming into the year. I feel like you just ditched them.
I can't ditch them. I mean, they're in that class.
Would you have this a lot closer if Coronado didn't do what they did last week?
Probably.
Yeah, that's what I
If
figured.
Coronado lost last week, I might even have picked.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
But I think that result got you on the right path because I don't think Palo beats Coronado, but I do think this will be close. I'll say Coronado pulls it out. So we both are on the Cougars. Mojave at Bonanza.
Mojave coin flip though.
Okay, I went against Mojave and what you coined a coin flip last week, and it won. So I'll go against them again, and I'll take Bonanza over Mojave. Spring Valley at Legacy.
Legacy.
Yeah, Legacy.
Spring Valley's having some problems.
Okay, yeah, I think Legacy probably a little more well-rounded team there. Del Sol at Canyon Springs.
Canyon Springs undefeated.
Oh, they're undefeated.
And
wow,
you're taking 5A teams and you're throwing them to the 3A.
Okay,
or whatever, 4A X Y or whatever.
Is this gonna align every year?
I think it's every 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so Canyon Springs is going to be feasting for a while now. Yeah, I'll go with Canyon Springs. Foothill at Sierra Vista.
The Hill.
Sierra Vista's been pretty good defensively, though, right? Any chance they slow them down a little bit more?
They didn't score last week. I think
but they only gave up 10 points.
How many points per game have they scored this year?
Yeah, they have looks like very little offense but great defense. I mean, they've only scored more than 14 once this year, it looks like.
Which is odd because their quarterback's their best player.
But defensively, they give up no points. Against in-state opponents, they're averaging giving up like 10, like maybe less than 2 touchdowns a game. So I don't know.
So Foothill goes for 50.
No, I definitely have the team total under on 50 for Foothill.
Okay.
I think Sierra Vista keeps them a little in check, but ultimately the Falcons still win. Durango at Green Valley.
Gators.
You have it close though.
Yeah, Gators haven't played a home game since the Hurricane Hillary night.
Oh, has Durango been a pleasant surprise? I'm just surprised
Durango
to see you.
Hasn't won since week 1, and I know their lead running back got dinged up maybe for the year. So
No, that's too bad. But I'm surprised. I'm trying to figure out why you keep giving me more reasons of why you like Green Valley. I'm trying to figure out why you have such a small spread on this.
You're looking at.
I want why you think Durango's going to be.
You're looking at my results.
Yeah.
As the score, you're trying to find an edge against me based on my score to pick against me. Using your background.
No. I'm not picking Durango. I'm going to make it clear. I'm just confused you've given me so many good reasons of why Green Valley should roll here, yet you have them struggling. But I guess that's just. I guess we'll just leave it a mystery. We'll revisit this game next week, see how it goes. Chaparral at Valley.
Ride 'em Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, they're back on track now. They looked kind of rough to start the year. I did not think that they had in them what they did to El Dorado last week. And I mean, Valley's probably a step down from El Dorado, right? Yeah. I would think. So Chaparral.
Yeah, real fast. The Valley coach messaged me, wanted to shout out some of his kids. So Coach Jordan, I want to shout out your guy Dominic Hopkins, threw for 452 yards with 5 TDs.
Maybe they're not a step down from El Dorado.
Cadence, though, CK.
But still, those are some good numbers.
Rocks, 164, 2 TDs. Deion Brooks, a $104, 2 TDs. Davion Coleman, 155 and 2 TDs. So shout out to the Vikings, Dominic, Deion, Dalian for their efforts.
Yeah, that's the man. They had some huge numbers. Yeah, it's Cadence, but Nice job there by the Vikings. How about Somerset Losi going to Cheyenne?
Somerset.
Yep, Somerset
Again,
rolls here.
Dude, I don't want to tell everybody how I pick games, but there's a common thread here. Go ahead.
The team that's going to blow out gets going to win.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Right. Slam, Nevada going to the Meadows.
Oh, my Slam. Slam, of course, the Meadows shouldn't even be in the sleeve. You can't go from a 2A team that's on the verge of playing 8-man football with 11 or 12 kids, even though you go to the state game a few times in the 2A, and then have to go jump up. It just doesn't make sense. Like the whole class system, as my wedding ring falls off and I try not to lose it, is right. Right? 518 Palo, 518 Canyon, you drop them down to what happens? They play for state.
But I feel like for years you were yelling it wasn't right.
It wasn't right.
It's never going to be right. I feel like the officials are in a bad spot.
It's never going to be right. Said. It ain't never going to be right because there's just too many teams. You got to take all the inner city schools, Clark, Rancho, Valley, Bonanza, El Dorado, have them play each other. And then take all the other schools, Canyon, Palo, Basic, whomever, and have them play each other. And then you got your big four, right? They were all supposed to play this week. Have them play in the state semifinals. Show up in November playing the state semifinals. Until then, play each other a few times. Go play a team from California. Go be on ESPN. Do whatever you want. Those are real, gosh darn great teams.
All right, yeah.
I mean, how would you? I mean, it's like Silverado. Okay, you had a great year, 26 and over 2 years, historic. They lost 60 players. You're telling me we're not smart enough to figure out that Silverado's got nobody on their team and let them stay where they belong? Like somehow we got to look at the current teams when deciding when to play. Clark basketball, Chad Beaton, state championship game, nationally ranked, D1 guys. Chad Beaton leaves and goes to Durango, and we're like, okay, let's make these poor kids play in the 5A and get their teeth kicked in. 96-30 every game. We can't figure this out. Go ahead, next game. I'm done.
Okay.
I do this once a year.
Boulder City at Virgin Valley.
Virgin Valley. They might be better than Moapa this year.
Are they better than Slam, though? Have they played
I
Slam?
don't know. The Slam Mocker Street prep score really worries me.
That game hasn't happened, right?
It just happened Saturday. Slam only beat them like 37.
No, I meant the Slam Virgin game.
I don't believe it has.
Okay. And will they be playing? Let's see.
I believe
get
they
the
are.
schedule up. Yeah, next week. So that'll be a big one.
I watched Virgin play Canyon on TV and it wasn't great, but it was also August 10th or whatever.
All right. Yep. Next week that'll be a big one. Slam, Virgin Valley. But yeah, in the meantime, especially after Boulder City took that beat down last week, I'm gonna say they do it again. Both sides of the hammer. Virgin Valley this week. Moapa Valley at Matter East is the final game.
Moapa Valley, loved your reference there. Both sides of the hammer. That's big time, dude.
I don't know.
Dude, that just
Got lucky. Yeah,
of course.
I didn't pre-write that.
Nice. Hey, that's a great podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Again, nobody's to blame except for everybody's to blame in the fight. And it's a shame the kids aren't playing. And listen, let's get ready for the Canyon Palo State game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, talk your trash during the game, get hyped up, but let it go when the scoreboard hits zeros. That's the best I could say. Just housekeeping wise, I also have Moapa in the final game. Okay. So we're both on Moapa. For Ray, I'm Case. Thanks for listening to Prep Sports Now. We will talk to you next week.